Thank you, and welcome to this evening's meeting of South Oxfordshire District Council's Cabinet. My name is David Rain. I'm the leader of the council and I'm going to be chairing this meeting. And apologies for absence. So would you like to take the register?
Absolutely. I will take the register in alphabetical order if you could confirm if you're in the room or present online. Councillor Peter Paul Barker.
Present in the room.
Councillor Robin Bennett.
Present in the room.
Councillor Maggie Philippova Rivers.
Joining remotely.
And Councillor David Ruane.
Present in the room. Have we had apologies from?
We've received apologies from Councillor Sue Cooper.
So some people we have had difficulty with traffic, so some people might still be in a queue of traffic on the way into Abingdon this evening. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Looking at the items on the agenda, I'll be very surprised if there are any, but if anyone wants to notify us of any matters which should be any disclosable pecuniary interests, other registrable interests and non-registrable interests, or any conflicts of interest in respect of items on the agenda, speak now. Not getting any. If anything occurs to you during the meeting, then speak up at that point. Item 3 is urgent business and chair's announcements. I don't have any urgent business to announce. Nope, Steve's shaking his head, so I probably haven't. 4 is public participation. I'm not seeing any public present. We don't have any public participation. Item 5 is recommendations and updates from other committees. I understand that there aren't any. Thank you. Which takes us to item 6, which is the empty homes policy. Councillor Philippova Rivers, would you like to introduce that? And I note that we've also got Phil Ely online who we can refer to if we have any questions. Maggie, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you so much. I will have a go. Just to note that as I am joining remotely this evening, one of you will have to propose and second on my behalf, but I am nonetheless happy to introduce. So an empty homes property was part of our action plan, our housing delivery strategy action plan. And so I want to thank officers for putting what is a really clear paper. This is the first such policy that we've had. And all costs associated with it will be met out of existing budgets. So you will see that there is in the policy itself, the way that we plan to go about this is to engage positively with private landlords. But I should mention that there is both some carrots, which obviously are where our focus is going, where our focus is going to be, but there are also some sticks that we can utilize in our hope to bring more properties back into use. The carrots are, of course, the kind of low interest loan, that positive engagement, utilizing our lettings agency, Whitehorse Lettings, and on the actual stick side, we have these EDMOs, which are the enforcement actions, the premium, which is charged on long-term empty homes, and of course, the nuclear option, which is compulsory purchase order. So that there are a range of benefits. I'm sure that all of you have heard in the news and in our work with as councillors, there is that figure of 1 million homes which are empty nationally. And that is infuriating, especially as we seek to find land to build on for new homes. And it's, of course, just very, very poor use of existing stock. There's also other benefits in terms of utilizing existing stock is, of course, the climate-friendly option, but also there is other benefits such as the kind of infestations and the antisocial behavior type impacts that can happen if a property is left unoccupied over a long period of time. And so what we are actually proposing is that we hire a new housing officer that will sit within our private sector property team. We already have 4 people in that team, and though they're very good at responding to complaints, what they're not able to do is going out in the community and in doing that positive engagement and identifying properties and etc. And so that will be their role, in addition to developing an action plan. Every strategy goes with an action plan as to how we are going to go about this. So there are of course some risks to this. We're new, so we very much expect to be learning. We are not at this stage sure how many properties we'll be able to bring back into use, but especially if these properties we can use for people who are in housing need, that would be of huge benefit, and it will help us to reduce those who are waiting for houses on the housing register. And so these are just a few of my thoughts. I'm going to check that I'm not missing anything from the notes very quickly. But no, I think that's it. I will leave it there for now, but feel free. It would be good to have a good discussion around this, and feel free to elaborate as well if I have missed something important.
Thank you. I'll go fishing for a proposer in a second there after we've done questions. I've got a couple of questions. If anyone else has, wave at me. First question is, are we here just putting onto paper what is current practice? It read as if this is sort of current practice, and then we're going to add a member of staff in order to be able to give capacity to be more proactive. But it read very much like this is what is the current policy. It's just we haven't had the resources to implement it so far. I can see Phil and Maggie are nodding.
Yeah, so yeah, the new element is that positive engagement. That is where we want to start. I think we hopefully, as you have seen from the report, our new empty homes officer will be working with our comms team. That should generate a bit of interest. I'm sure neighbours will be more than willing to let us know if there's empty property somewhere near them. And on the basis of that, we can reevaluate. And as you know, the action plan will, of course, be subject to review as we begin with this journey. But we certainly want to start on a positive note. So we do a lot of these things already. I think there are more things that we can do. I've done a little bit of scanning of what others are doing, but I think this is a really good place to start.
And my second question is coming over all accountancy. We are going to spend some money on employing another person, and I'm going to pluck a number out of the air and say that's going to cost us about £40,000. That's a totally made up number. So do we know how many properties we need to bring back into use in order to pay that back? Because presumably if we can bring properties back into use, then it stops us using temporary accommodation or emergency accommodation. Have we done that number or not?
I will attempt to answer it. First of all, when we bring a property back into use, we don't know whether it will be used for anyone that is in need of a house rather than people in housing need. If obviously we will try and steer them in that direction, so it will be hard to do the temporary accommodation calculation, not knowing which way that property, how it will be used, right? Whether it's just for private tenants or for people in housing need. But if it is for the latter, obviously that would be generate some savings for us in terms of temporary accommodation. I'll let Phil answer as to what our, I guess, daily cost is for temporary accommodation, and that may give you a sense of the saving. And it's £25,000, by the way, the cost of the officer.
Yes, I'm frantically writing down some figures. So on average, it's about £100 a night if we have to provide hotel accommodation. And at the moment, I think we're averaging about 40 nights. So if you do the sort of calculation from there, that'll work out the approximate saving purely from hotels that we would for each single property. And Councillor Philip Over-Rivers is correct. We don't have a set figure at the moment. But for the wider context, we're in a very engaging battle with homelessness. So any homes that we can bring in via this route are going to be very sort of gratefully received, both for the financial impact and for the benefits of the individual families, as well as the actual property owner as well.
Okay. Councillor Barker.
Yeah, just a question about the scope. I mean, obviously, there are many reasons why a property might be empty in South Oxfordshire, and some of them are housing association, I suppose, and some of them are military and so on. And we do see as well a lot of houses are not on the electoral roll at all. But the figures in the document where they're talking about empty homes, 1,000 or so, what's that based on?
Council tax. Good. I got a nod from Phil. That's great.
That's very short answer.
So somebody's paying council tax for these properties, but there's nobody living in them. Phil, are you right?
Just to say, Councillor Philip Over is correct. These are council tax figures, but as part of the new role, we'll be going out and promoting the fact that we can provide these services. So it may well bring extra sort of empty homeowners out of the woodwork, so to speak. So we'd be more than happy to engage with them as well.
Yeah. So there probably are more.
There probably are more, yeah, probably. But it's still a fairly small number. It's under really 1% that we have, about 0.5% that we have. So I think we do need to be realistic. This is why, we're starting this way. The other thing that I was also thinking about is that there may well be properties that are paying council tax, but we don't know are empty at all, because how would we? And actually that may bring some additional of the empty homes premium as well. So there might be a financial benefit that way. That's my conjecture anyway. Okay, I got a nod. That's good. Thanks, Phil.
I should say, while we've been speaking, Councillors Simpson, Powell, and very nearly Van Mierlo have joined us. So we're up to the level we expect it to be. Okay. Any further questions? If not, I'm happy to formally propose this. Maggie has helpfully given the speech for me. Councillor Powell, you have seconding.
Yeah.
Is there any further debate? In which case we see those in favour.
I was going to say something actually.
We can't.
Oh, well, I think this is a real landmark. I think this was a commitment we made in our first corporate plan when we took on this administration. It was a very specific objective. I think you might have said that while I was walking in. Sorry, but this was a commitment we made, and although the numbers are relatively low compared to many other parts of the country, these are still homes that will be put back into use. And I think the if you like, the benefit to me is so much more than just the financial cost of housing people, the cost of employing somebody. It's about giving them that wraparound care, that wraparound treatment, and the impact on those individuals having a place to live will be in many ways incalculable. So I think this is a terrific policy, and I'm delighted to see it, and I'm very happy to second it, and I recommend you all to agree.
I won't sum up other than to agree with that. Can see those in favour of adopting this.
Listen to half the debate.
That's everyone. Hey, thanks, Phil and Maggie, for presenting that. Our next item is the corporate plan, corporate performance report and climate action plan performance report for Q3. Councillor Powell, are you introducing?
I am, yes. Thank you very much.
So pleased you got here.
Sorry?
I'm so pleased you got here.
I've got here on time, yes. Following comments made on the previous quarter's report, we've continued to evolve and improve the format of the reporting and the information that's provided. As you'll all be very well aware, we're heading now towards developing our next 4-year corporate plan. So, we're really focusing very much on the way forward rather than necessarily continue to finesse ad infinitum the existing reports. But we have made a few enhancements. First of all, quite simply to put the dates on the Q3 can be a bit meaningless to some people. So actually October to December 2023 makes an awful lot more sense for people. Some of the commentary has been adjusted and refocused so that it's more in line with our corporate plan priorities rather than being a very kind of heavy economic focus which it had in previous times. So that's an improvement. And I think councillors will notice, it's quite obvious when you get into the detail of the report that there's a lot of sort of white space because there's so much to report against individual projects and activities that often that takes up space and it's not very easy on the eye, and it's not particularly good use of paper if you were to print these out. So it really underlines our intention as we move forward to make this much more this piece of the work a much higher level, more strategic, focused report, and then the detail will be available for interrogation online through a sort of click-through approach rather than having to plough through reams and reams and reams of empty white space on a sheet of paper. Other than that, it is a historic document. It tells everybody what we achieved in the last quarter of last year. I do encourage everybody to embed links to this in their reports to parishes and other communication because it's a really good story here to be told, particularly as you look down into the climate action plan. Really struck me when reading through how many actions have been listed as complete. We're really ploughing through the activities that we set ourselves. Others are red rated because actually, as in the course of attempting to achieve the objectives, it was discovered that there were obstacles that were beyond our control, and so we have to be transparent about those and identify where it's not possible to make the progress we would like. But as ever, I think this is a very informative and detailed report, and I'm sure you're very familiar with much of what's in it because obviously it's in your portfolio areas. But it's for noting at this stage, and of course it's already published online as a draft report. Once we've noted it formally today, then I think the draft word will drop off and it will become the full report. And I would just like to make one other comment, which is I was very pleased to see when I was looking at the forward work plan for the scrutiny committee, a very explicit reference to the way this report will be used by the scrutiny committee going forward, which is that the reports, once they're completed, will be analysed by the members of the scrutiny committee, and then they'll be able to pick out the items that they want further information on, they want to delve into more deeply. And I think we've sort of, that's been an implicit understanding, but it hasn't been explicitly sort of spelt out in the work programme for scrutiny. So that's great that that's now being clarified. So it's for noting.
On that point, I would say I've been quite keen for us to move away from celebrating the fact that we're producing it to actually using it.
Yes.
I dare say you're proposing that. Councillor Van Miller, do you want to say anything about the climate action performance report?
No, I think it
speaks for itself. And so you're proposing it. Would any of the officers online want to add to what's been said? Take silence.
Right. Nothing further to add. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. So you're proposing that. Do we have someone like second? Thanks, Councillor Simpson. Would anyone like to raise questions or highlight particular items within their area? In which case, I'd like to got a few points myself. One where I think I found really useful to have on the performance highlights was the Rural England Prosperity Fund. And you can then drill down to see what sort of things we were funding. Because I knew that the scheme was there, but looking down at the individual projects, that was basically useful to know. I'd say the local cycling and walking infrastructure plan for Decock was done. Formally, it was done by the county council because it's a transport policy, but it was funded by the Garden Town and was a Garden Town-led project. And great fun was had by all on a cycle safari around the town of the worst areas to cycle. And I think it's a ridiculous number, the amount of money that we're going to have to spend to bring it up to what would be the ideal. 30 million sticks in my head.
I think that was the top 10 things.
That was just the top 10 things. We'll do one or two of those. And the other thing I would say was about the highlights. In the highlights, we talk about the number of affordable homes. I think we should also talk about the number of homes because we are, that is a subset of the houses that we're delivering, but we are actually delivering lots of market houses as well as part of our joint level plan. And I think that's worth talking about as well. That both the government and the opposition are talking about how many houses need to be delivered per year in order to meet demand. And so the fact that we're delivering houses not only for affordable houses but for market as well, I think is an important figure.
Yes, I'm just thinking about the feasibility of. I'm looking at Marina, how easy it would be to get that number, because there's houses being delivered on large developments, but then there are houses being built all the time, and I don't know, if we've given planning permission, I don't know whether we would
through in our annual.
When we do our report.
So we could maybe do that on an annual.
I don't think that's not long off coming actually.
Right, so that's maybe part of the annual performance report. In fact, we will be obviously producing the fourth quarter and then the annual performance report, and maybe that's what we'll pick up on for that.
It'd be an annual monitoring report. Monitoring report.
Councillor Barker.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight something that is shown in both of these reports. The level of investment that's going into decarbonisation and similar funding, often supported by external funds, which we've successfully applied for. And it's good to see in here, things like the Swimming Pool Support Fund, energy efficiency measures at Abbey, at Tame, and we know about decarbonisation investments that we're making in other public buildings as well. And that kind of investor save, if you like, is one of our key themes, and it's good to see that coming through. I think also, just the sheer amount of information here that's published in the open to show what's happening, what's being done in the council, what's being worked on is again one of our key themes was accountability, transparency, and that just shows through in all of this.
I mentioned one thing.
Yes.
Just because you mentioned the Rural England Prosperity Fund grants programme, but also a lot of what's been done as part of that scheme and this Shared Prosperity Fund is research projects. So there's a visitor economy research project, which is also feeding into the joint plan. But we're quite often asked what we're doing for the visitor economy, and also an Oxford Brooks-led study on supporting businesses to transform their operations in attempt to be more sustainable. Because the way those schemes were set up, most of the expenditure is in year 3, which commences in April. So we will then see a lot more activity around those things from there. But it will be based on research that we've done. We've done a lot of the homework ahead of that. And just to mention also that one of the red rated things in the climate action plans, the community employment plans, but they were originally in the draft old local plan, got struck out by the examiner. But we're hopeful, trying imagine Anne-Marie, we're hopeful we'll get them in to the next one with a fair wind. But we do work with site promoters anyway. Just because they're not on the policy doesn't mean we won't have any community employment plans. We do work with them to try and get those anyway.
Thank you. Any further debate, discussion?
Just my seconding in a way, because if no one else has anything to say, because I just want to also echo the thanks to officers for producing this, and I also like the point that you bring out about how much information is there and how open and transparent it is. Obviously, I do look back, and this is Q3, and I'm looking back at what we were doing on the joint local plan then, and you can see the focus on climate emergency coming through here as well, with the net zero work that went into some of those policies, the draft policies in the draft joint local plan. And of course, now that's been out for consultation, and we'll be looking at those consultation responses. But I just think there's a lot going on here and a lot to help people. And there's also the community hub, which is pointing out where people can, talks about the food action working group further up as well. Where was I looking at the grant schemes for cost of living? So, and with food and water grants. So all in all, there's a lot of information there. I know that I have been sharing it with parishes, and I would encourage all councillors to do that because it's good.
And just remind councillors that that highlights graphic is on the page, the corporate plan reporting page. So where you've got the links through to the detailed plan, if you did want to use that highlight graphic, that's quite a nice one.
I spend a lot of my time stopping terrible things happening, and so I just wonder if we could have a key performance indicator that lists the things that didn't happen because I stopped them.
Because you stopped them?
Yes.
You personally?
Not being secret, it's part of my role. Okay, everybody in favour of noting this report? Everyone, thank you. And I think that concludes our business. Yes, it does. Thank you. I don't have a gavel.
Firstly, can you confirm the live stream has ended?
Nice and quick.